What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. My name is Adam Palmer. I am your host. This is Daily Nonsense. Today is Thursday, July 24th. And on today's episode of the podcast, we are going to be talking about an injury in the NFL and baseball and soccer Topps Chrome products. We are now officially under a week, 6 days to the National Sports Collectors Convention out in Chicago. And today's tip is going to be make sure you always keep an eye on your cards, no matter if you were at trade night, if you are at the show doing something with a dealer, or you're just out in the lobby talking to people. It can be very easy to get distracted, whether you're having a conversation or you see somebody that you know. Just make sure you always have an eye on your cards, so that way no one can just walk by and snag them without you knowing. Before we start the show, I want to give a shout out to my boys at the Boston Breach. They are in the EWC tournament, the Esports World Cup out in Saudi Arabia. This is the last tournament of the season. We'll see if they're going to be a team next year. There's a chance that they might not. So this could be the last chance anybody from Boston, if they are interested in this, that's Call of Duty team to watch. So like I said, we are going to get into the show here. We've got a couple different topics. We've got three, actually. So the first one is going to be that Will Levis, the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, is going to be missing the whole season. It was announced a couple days ago by the team that he is going to have shoulder surgery. Mixing those two words can get a little bit tough at times. But I think what it says to me is like, at any point, any of these new rookies can be out on one play. You know, even like a Jason Tatum, for example, he's out for the whole entire season. Maybe not exactly the same, but on one play, he tore his Achilles, he's out for the season. Will Levis, a player who is part of that like weird class that had Topps autographs, that had exclusive Topps autographs and no Panini autographs. They signed exclusive with Topps, but they have Panini Prism. They have all of the regular base cards for Panini. They just don't have any autographs, unfortunately. So no Contenders autographs, no National Treasures autographs. And it was the first time that Topps had really kind of asserted their dominance, if I'm going to be completely honest, in the sports card industry, other than buying the MLB license. They took essentially the biggest names from that year's draft class. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis is another example. All three of them had exclusive deals with Topps for autographs. So there were no cards, unfortunately, no autographs for those players. And again, it's when you are buying, if you are buying and selling any of these big name rookies that are still in their second and third year, it really just shows that within one play, a player can miss the rest of the season like Will Levis. So it's always something to be careful of if you're buying any players who are in the league or playing right now. The other story, we're going to kind of follow up a little bit about the Topps Chrome release. So a couple big cards been pulled. There was a gold autograph with I believe it was the logo man with the logo. They had dual ones too, but they had them for all the award winners last year. So like the Cy Young, they had a dual MVP one with Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, which I think is a really very, very cool card. The Chris Sale, it was a redemption that has been pulled. That's one thing that Topps, I don't know if they're shifting to, but one thing that I've definitely seen over the past few years is instead of coming out with some of these big cards, and granted, maybe the Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge will be in packs, but like they did with the debut patch autographs, those, a lot of them were going to be the redemptions, which I think they put them in Breaker's Delight, the actual patches, because there's just less cards, less of a chance that they'll get I don't know, ruined or whatever. So the Chris Sale, the redemption has been pulled. The other big card who I think is probably going to win AL MVP is Jacob Wilson. His Superfractor autograph was pulled out of Topps Chrome. Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson. The Athletics are such an interesting team to be completely honest, because like they have so many good young players, but they're in such a weird spot where they're playing in a minor league stadium. And they have a bunch of pretty good rookies. I mean, two rookies who are probably first and second. If you look at like the betting odds, first and second for the AL MVP, Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson. I think that Jacob Wilson is going to be a very interesting name to watch. I mean, I think the statistic that I saw of him was like that he had the best hit. It was like something along the lines of he had the best balls in play hit percentage or something along those lines. Like it was like the record for the minor leagues. And his father also played in the MLB as well. So some of the sentiment that I saw with that I thought was a little bit interesting was that people were kind of complaining about the pricing of these boxes. And look, it's a product that I think is going to be very important down the road. That I think Topps Chrome has shown that it's going to be one of the more important products. And I think unfortunately this is just the era we're in with sports cards. It's like when people didn't care about sports cards, sure, the boxes weren't super expensive. The hobby boxes, jumbo hobby boxes, they were pretty expensive. But like now that people care about the industry, prices are just going to go up, unfortunately. And I think that's just the era we're in. So you probably will see with any releases, you'll see people talking about prices. I've seen a couple people complaining about it. Realistically, that's just the era we're in for sports cards. People care about the cards, so the box prices are going to go up, unfortunately. But that also means that the cards within the boxes are going to have more people that want to buy them. In some scenarios, honestly, but sometimes you might run into an issue where you might not. And that could be argued whether all the cards in the box are worth more versus what you're getting in the box versus the price of the box. I could see how you could argue all of those things. The last thing, also another Topps Chrome topic, but it's going to be Topps Chrome Soccer, EPL. This was a news that happened last Friday or Saturday, I believe, that Topps announced they are taking over the EPL license, the Topps World Takeover. I don't know if I've used that term on the podcast or if it was just on a video that I made, but the Topps World Takeover is here. They have taken over the EPL license. Luckily for Panini, they still have the World Cup license. They have the 2026 World Cup, which will be next year, which is in the United States. I kind of am hoping to go. I mean, we'll see. Prices are looking like they're kind of expensive, if I'm going to be honest, for some of those tickets. But they have that one. Then they also have the 2030 World Cup, and then they have the 2027 Women's World Cup. So the thing is, like, sure, right now Panini has the World Cup license for 2030, but like Topps and Fanatics have not been scared to come in and take over those licenses. Like they did that with the MLB. And realistically, I don't think that they would come in and try and take over. Fanatics would try and come in and take over the World Cup license for the next World Cup, because this product, in my opinion, next year's World Cup, Prism, or whatever products they come out with, I think the Prism will probably be the big one. They'll probably do National Treasures. Next year's World Cup cycle for Panini, I think, is going to be one of the more important cycles for any sport, any product, because if they can't figure out how to market that product, that's really going to have to be one that they're going to have to figure out how to market it before the tournament, during the tournament, and then after the tournament, if there is like some selling that they're trying to do once the World Cup is over. But I think overall, the EPL is one of the biggest leagues in the world. Now, sure, you might say, well, a lot of that is going to be the overseas and Europe potentially. Yeah, sure. But I think within the United States, again, I think that soccer has not taken over the way that it probably could and maybe still should. The English Premier League, for example, has 77.8 million followers on Instagram. That is if you're comparing that to the sports within America, the NBA has 90, which again, the NBA is probably the most global game of all of the sports within the United States. You can maybe say baseball, but I'm not even going to compare the Instagram followers of the English Premier League to the Instagram followers of the MLB, because it's really not even close. I think the MLB is in like the 2 to 3 million, where, like I said, the English Premier League, their Instagram page has 77 million. The NFL has 31 million, excuse me. And then, like I said, NBA has 90 million. So I still see soccer as one of the biggest sports within sports cards eventually, maybe, just based on the global fact that, like, the global reach of the sport is absolutely insane. The amount of fans there are is absolutely insane. And the EPL is the biggest league in the world. So Topps coming in and taking over these products, I think, is cool. They've actually already come out with the product, so people are starting to pull it. The cards look pretty cool. There was like a little number in the bottom left that had like power, or maybe it was speed. I've been looking all over. I still can't find it. So if anybody knows in the comments, please leave a comment. Make sure you like and subscribe also on this video. I really appreciate that as well. But there is that little number that I wasn't 100% sure what it was. I'm not sure if this is the Topps Chrome English Premier League as a game or what exactly it was. But either way, the cards are out now. They're very cool. And the Topps Fanatics World Takeover has continued in the soccer world with the EPL.